As promised, here's a little bite-sized video to show you how to knit blocks of colour using a technique called INTARSIA. This technique is also used to knit the little picture motifs within my Little Pickle Knits collections. So within my knitting patterns you will get a chart of the motif that you're knitting. And if I bring it up here for you to see, this is one we're going to be working on in this video. This is just a simple blocked square, and this is the first thing I get people to knit within my workshops in my studio. So you'll see the numbers that run, I show you here, the numbers that run up here. When you have, so you'll be working on a pair of single pointed needles, you'll be working back and forth, and that's how you have to work with INTARSIA. I'll go into that further when I start knitting. When you have an odd number, it will be your knit side, your face side, and you will follow the stitches from right to left. Then when you've got the wrong side facing you, you're working and the purl side is at the front, you will refer to the even rows and you will be working from left and counting your stitches to put your colours in from left to right. Okay, so these are your stitches, the number of your stitches, and these are your rows. Pop that down there. Now, I have already knitted the first 4 rows, which are here and colour blocked. We go back to this chart. We're now on row 5. Let it focus. I'm going to work from right to left, row 5. I'm going to knit 4 in orange, and then I'm going to knit 3, 6, 7, 8 in yellow, and then the final 4 in orange. So we're on row 5. So I will now show you how to work this technique where you knit several colours in a row, but you don't float them across the back. So I place the yarn in here into the next stitch, lay this colour across and knit it. Now at the back of your fabric you need to be crossing your threads so that we don't get a gap in between the 2 colours. Now on my first stitch I've worked that stitch. I'm going to take the orange over and I'm going to pick up, not the short thread, pick up this yellow again and carry on knitting. So what I've done is that yarn here is going through the back and it will seal those 2 colours together so we don't have a gap. Now I will carry on working across, and the chart tells me I have to knit 8 stitches, 3, 6, 7, 8. So I've now worked this here, and I won't be using this original orange, otherwise that will float across the back. I now get a separate piece of thread. So I've put the stitch in, put the needle into the stitch, I'm putting the orange thread over, I am knitting that stitch. I'm going to go back to the yellow, I pass that over the top, and then I will carry on knitting with this thread. So that's row 5 completed. So now I'm going to turn see the number on the left. I'm going to work from left to right. Now with this chart both sides are the same, so you won't really appreciate how you've got to work from the left or from the right on this. But if you've got a picture, obviously, because you're working on the reverse side, you need to follow it from left to right. So I'm now going to work along here, 4 stitches in red, or in orange, 8 stitches in yellow, and 4 in orange again. So we're going for now. You can see it's all a little bit loopy, which is understandable because we've just started. I'm just going to pull these to tension, not too tight, just so that they come in nicely. Now I need to start knitting with the yellow, but I don't just pick up the yellow. I have to cross the orange over the top because this is twisting the yarns together at the back, and then I pick up the yellow. So this is over the top, picking up the yellow, and I'm going to purl my way across those 8 stitches. Okay, that's my last yellow. I'm going to just pull these threads here. Now I need to start with the orange that's on this side to do this section here, although it's coming back to that section. So again, I put my previous thread over, I pick this one up. Now the key to getting really nice neat edges is not to make this really big because you'll have a very big stitch. So I'm going to put this in, I'm going to pull this so it's nice and close, and then I'm going to knit it not too tight, just so it's to tension, just so it's snug, you know, it's snug against the needle. So that's now crossed those 2 behind there, and I'm going to carry on with the orange. And we turn over. So now we're on the face side again, and we are now on row 7. And I'm going to work across here 4 stitches again. So this first colour block that I give people when they're first starting with Intarsia is very simple because you're just literally working a straight block, but it's a great way to start before you move on to pictures. So this is my yellow that I need to knit with next. I don't just pick it up, I cross that over the top of it and then pick it up. And that, you can see, that's to the left, and this will mean that it will cross at the back and it will prevent you having a big hole. Working the 8 stitches in yellow. I've got to the orange again, so I'm going to find the orange. You don't want the little one, make sure you get the big one. Put the yellow, oops, we've gone out here, put the yellow over and pick up the orange. Now I always just check the tension as well, make sure it's looking nice. So before you start knitting each row, I do it automatically and I haven't really been telling you about it, just make sure that these stitches where they're joined are to tension, because once you've knitted across again it's more difficult to actually work it. So now we're on 4, 5, 6, 7, we're on row 8, which you'd be working, oh, here we go, left to right. Purl 4, cross over, pick up the yellow. So what I was saying about checking your tension, I pull that slightly, just make sure it all looks really neat, and then carry on. Keep checking the face side. Make sure you're happy with how it's looking. Cross over, pick up the orange, so that's how the back's looking. You can see these are where they've wrapped and connected the two colours by wrapping them. Otherwise you end up with like a piece of yellow and a piece of orange, and they're just separate, completely separate if you don't twist the back. And we're 9. I'm going to go here, put that over, pick up the yellow, and knit with the yellow. Look at the tension. Yep, look fine, looks fine. So you put, just about to change to orange, put the thread in, put the needle in, sorry, cross the yellow over, pick up the orange. So there it is, looking really nice. Row 10. Now if you're knitting along with me, you can always stop the video if I'm going too fast and pop it back on again when you're ready. So I've crossed this thread over again, over the orange, over the yellow. Yarn in. Now remember what I say about don't make all this really loose and pull your stitch, pull this thread while you're knitting. Keep it nice and tight, nice and close. The closer you keep your needles, the neater the stitches. Pull that orange, make sure that's all nicely at tension. When I say at tension, it's so that the stitches just fits snugly around the needle. It's not too tight, it's not too loose. It can move. It's not too loose, but it's, if you do it too tight, it's really difficult to, first of all, to get the needle in to knit the stitch, but also it's just doesn't make it a pleasant knitting experience, and you're not likely to get the correct tension for the needle that you're using. So just a nice and snug, but so it moves. So to work out where you are, I'm sure if you're trying Intarsia you know how to count your rows, but just in case you don't, so we can see the yellows here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've done 6 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of yellow. We're now on a right side facing, so we must be an odd row. So we're just about to start row 11. So pull that stitch a bit too loose, so I've pulled it back to tension, cross over, pick up the yellow and carry on. So this is my first video. There'll be another video showing how to work a diagonal, and then we'll move on to a motif, a little picture motif. So now we're row 12, going back, purl side facing. 3, 4, cross over, pick up the yellow. I think people think this is very, very complicated. obviously very detailed picture knits can be very complicated, but the technique itself is pretty simple. You just cross the yarn over the new yarn and then pick up and carry on knitting. Keep that tension nice because you want this join to be perfect. If you're where the two colours join, if it isn't neat, that means you've got to work at your tension. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 6. We're now on row 13. Row 13. Almost there, last 2 rows of Intarsia. There's a thread there, pick it up. And row 14, the last row of this block. Cross over, pick up the yellow. Cross over, pick up the orange. Okay, so you have had 3 colours working. One colour here, the orange here, a colour here, yellow, and a separate colour here, all separate strands. And now we're at the top, row 15, and I will now just work all the way across in the orange. Now that's gone loose because it's the last stitch. Just pull it to tension before you carry on. Make sure these are all okay. Yeah. It's best to just correct the tension straight away. Now that's likely to go loose, so I pull that thread. So I've got 4 rows now just in the orange and stocking stitch. So within my knitting patterns you will get a chart for every single size, a separate chart, so it's really easy to follow, which will show you all the stitches and where the little patterns come. So they're super easy to follow. They will be in the same format as this, with the stitches numbered running across the bottom and the rows up the side. And we're on to the last row. Out of yarn, so I'm just joining a new yarn. There we go. Oops. So that's us completed this colour block here. So that's how it looks on the face side. Give you a close up. That's how it looks. That looks a bit, pull that a little bit tight then. So you will just secure each of the ends, and then I tend to run them across these points here to run the thread through for a little while. So you've got to make sure it's secure, otherwise it will come undone. So I just do a little tie over and then run the thread through to seal it. So that's how you work a very simple block in Intarsia. Do take a look. I will have other videos. This is next, the diagonal, and then I will do some motifs with you. I really hope this has helped. If you would like to try some Intarsia knitting, some of my Intarsia knitting patterns, you can find them in my Little Pickle Knits collection, and the link is in the description below.